Well, hello there my loves. Thank you for watching today's video and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, which is the third video on the topic of mental health, I'm going to be discussing and giving answers to the question, how did you get through experiencing depression as well as completing your degree? And how did you do so well and not let it affect you? Which is a great question, so thank you for sending that in first of all. And also great to see that you're using the word experiencing rather than the word suffering. So that means that you must have either watched my last video or read my last blog post on the topic, which is fantastic. So I'll be answering that question today. So perhaps if you're studying and also experiencing depression, I'm going to be offering you some useful tips and advice about how to complete that and continue doing that successfully. So in response to the question, I'm not going to lie. Doing my degree and completing it was one of the most challenging things I've ever done. Doing a degree in its own right is challenging enough, but doing it while you're experiencing clinical depression makes it even more so. And that experience framed and filtered pretty much everything that I did. Woke up most mornings crying, unsure about how I was actually going to make it successfully through each day, but I did. And you know, it was a very, very challenging time. I didn't have the skills that I have now to actually lead my life successfully. But back then, it filtered into my day and pretty much framed my day on a daily basis, and things were pretty unbearable a lot of the time. So it didn't not affect me. It couldn't, because it was my experience at the time. Now, although I graduated from the University of Birmingham, I actually started my degree at the University of Leeds. And when I was at the University of Leeds, I remember things being, again, you know, pretty unbearable most of the time. But I was what you might call high functioning in terms of how I experienced depression. I would be able to put on this mask in public and go out and do things and, you know, pretend that everything was fine. But then as soon as I was in the privacy of my room in the halls of residence, the tears would just start, and I would, you know, just have this overwhelming sense of loneliness and unhappiness and hopelessness. And one of the ways that I coped with that is I hadn't yet, in the first year of a university, hadn't yet found friends that I felt that I could, trust and share this with in the early days, is one of the things that I did was I journaled, and I journaled a lot, and instead of having thoughts and feelings just going round and round in my head and spiralling, I'd write them out and just write about what I was feeling and what I was thinking. And kind of when I read back some of those journals now, it's pretty heartbreaking to know that, and to remember that those were the sorts of feelings that I was experiencing. And that makes me feel quite sad, and it's almost like looking at somebody else's journal or seeing things from somebody else's perspective, because things are so far removed from where I am now. But that's one of the techniques that I used, was to journal. So if you're not already, and perhaps you're not maybe speaking to somebody about how you're feeling, one of the ways that you can process your emotions is to journal about it. Write about what you're experiencing, write about what you're going through, just to get it out of your system, so it's not just going round and round. Now, even though I was feeling this low, I still hadn't connected the dots. I still hadn't realised that something was fundamentally quite wrong with the way that I was feeling, because, as you'll know from previous blogs and videos, that was the way that I'd felt forever, or for as long as I could remember. And so I hadn't connected the dots, and it wasn't until I remember quite prominently one day, I was walking down the hill from the university to the bus stop. I was heading into town, and I just was walking down the road with tears streaming down my face. And it was probably the first time that I'd allowed myself to actually cry in public. And I remember thinking that something's wrong with this picture. I shouldn't be feeling like this on a daily basis for no specific or particular reason. And although that there were reasons, there were things that happened, in my childhood, and things that had happened in my life that had led me to feel sad, or that, I'd chosen to feel sad about those things, there was no real reason on that particular day why I should feel as devastatingly sad as I did. So it was at that point that I started to think that there was something wrong with the way that I was feeling. One of the things that I found the most challenging to do while I was studying was concentrating, and that was just pretty much on a daily basis in terms of my studying, concentrating on the books that I was reading for the papers that I needed to write, and actually being able to digest that information and then put it into my own words for the papers that I was writing. And so my way of coping with this and managing was to plan meticulously. So I would have to, sometimes read and reread the same paragraph over and over again in order for my brain to actually digest the information. So I had to plan meticulously, and I was determined to succeed. I was so adamant that I was going to get through this and I was going to be able to make it through the other side. And so I planned meticulously. I highlighted things and I read and I reread and I reread, and I wrote meticulous notes in order for me to actually then turn that information into, comprehensible papers for my lecturers to read and to mark me on. So I planned meticulously, and like I said, I was determined to succeed, and it was like almost I knew that I wanted to use my experience, I wanted to use what I was going through and what I had been through to help other people. I knew that I wanted to do something fantastic and amazing with my life, and it was almost like I was aware at that age that what I was going through was actually going to be able to fuel my passion for helping other people, and it does. And I'm so fortunate now to be in a position where what I was going through back then has actually been able to fuel my passion and fuel the work that I do now with other people. And so it made it worthwhile, because I also knew that the people that potentially I was going to help in the future, per se now, I wouldn't be able to help them in the same way if I hadn't gone through what I went through then, because I wouldn't be able to step into their model of the world and see things almost through their eyes and really understand what they are going through, because of my own experience. I can really relate to the things that, people who are experiencing this are experiencing, because I have experience of it also. So I was passionate and I was determined to succeed, because I knew that I was going to do something amazing in the future. So in addition to that, what I also did was access the support and services that were available at the university. And I know that all universities will be different, but most of them will have a student support service available. So my recommendation is that you go to the university and you see what support is available for you. They helped to put me in touch with a counsellor. They also helped to put me in touch with study support system, helped me to find out about getting extended deadlines for extenuating circumstances, and also put me in touch with the right people to speak to when it came to sitting my exams. What I also experienced in addition to clinical depression was panic attacks and anxiety. And so what they helped me to do was I was able to sit my exams in a separate room from everybody else. Now, it wasn't until I think it was my final year of university that I actually tapped into and accessed that support. But if I'd done it, the years for the entire time that I was at university, then my time and my studying there would probably have been made a lot easier. But it was about tapping into the services and the support that was available. So, those are some of the things that you can do, and definitely tap into and see what services and what support they can offer you. One of the things that tapping into the services that the Student Support Service offered really helped me to understand was that I wasn't alone in what I was going through, and you too, if this is something that you're going through, it's important that you understand that you are not alone in what you're going through, and that there is support out there. There are other people who will understand what you're going through, so it is important that you reach out for help and don't just sit on it and try and get through it on your own without tapping into the support that is available. Do reach out and ask for help, because there are people that want to help. They just need to know that there's something that you need help with, and they will be there to support you. So another thing that really helped me to get through my degree was to really focus on my outcome. Focus on the reason why I was at university in the first place. Focus on why I was studying there. Focus on the reasons that, I was at university, because yes, I enjoyed my subject and I absolutely loved it, but I wanted to change my life. I wanted, to have a completely different experience as an adult, than I had seen in the area that I grew up in. I grew up in a very poor and impoverished area. I still grew up around poverty and saw, you know, a lot of things that I didn't really want to continue experiencing in my adult life, and wanted my child and any children that I would have in the future to have a completely different experience of life. And all those things moulded me to a degree. I wanted my children, any children that I had in the future, to have a different experience of life. So I focused on my outcome, and I really focused with laser focus on the things that I wanted, and the reason why I actually started my degree in the first place, which was to fundamentally to change my life. So that is what kept me going. And like I said, I knew that I wanted to do something amazing with my life, and I knew that I had to get through that experience to actually get to where I wanted to be. So focusing with laser focus was another thing that really helped me to get to the end of it and to succeed and to do well. So one of the things that you can work on doing is to identify what your why is. What is your motivation for doing the degree? What is the reason that you started your degree in the first place? And focus on that. Have that be the basis, and have that be the thing that motivates you to continue and to strive to achieve what you're there to achieve. One of the other things that kept me going was the fact that I absolutely loved my degree. I loved learning. I still do now. I'm so passionate about learning and will be a student of life and of, you know, other things until the day that I'm no more. But I absolutely loved my degree. I was so passionate about my subject, and that really helped me as well. So for those of you, perhaps if you're watching and you're not yet doing a degree, it's important, and perhaps you're thinking about doing a degree, it's important that you choose a degree in a subject that you love. Don't do a degree for somebody else because it's what somebody else wants you to do. Doing a degree and completing it successfully and doing well is, you know, one of the most challenging things that potentially you'll do. So it's important that you do it in a subject that you love and that you're passionate about, or that you have a drive or that motivation to succeed at it, because that is what is going to carry you through. So I really hope this video has helped you. In my next video, I'll be telling you more about what I've done in between being diagnosed with clinical depression at the age of 22, being medicated for 8 years, and now living a life where I am medication free, living a really, really happy and full and content life. And I'll be sharing more of my journey with you in the next video. So please do give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video, if it's helped you, giving you some food for thought and some helpful tips and advice. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos, and share this with anybody that you think it might help. So I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to making another video for you really, really soon. Okay, bye for now.